From the moment I was old enough to understand the world around me, I knew I was different. My name is Ben, and I've always been drawn to the stories of far-off lands, to knowledge and dreams spun into words and captured on parchment. My heart yearned for adventure, for something beyond the small provincial village I called home. But little did I know, my life was about to be intertwined with a tale more extraordinary than any I'd ever read. My father, a humble merchant, was the only one who truly understood my passion. On his trips, he'd always bring me books, my windows to the world. One day, he set off on a journey to a neighboring town but never returned. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing moment my worry grew. Armed with nothing but determination, I set off into the uncharted woods in search of my father. The forest was dense and enigmatic, like a labyrinth of shadows and whispers. It was there I stumbled upon an isolated castle, an architectural marvel hidden within the heart of the wilderness. It was a place where the air was heavy with enchantment, and the silence echoed with untold stories. Inside the castle I found my father, weak and imprisoned. His crime, plucking a single rose from the castle's garden. The master of this castle, the one who had inflicted such a harsh punishment, was a beast, a creature formidable in appearance yet possessing an air of tragic loneliness that inexplicably drew me in. I couldn't bear to leave my father in such a condition, so I made a decision that would change the course of my life. I proposed a trade, my freedom for my father's life. The beast agreed, and I watched my father leave, guilt and relief playing across his face. The castle was intimidating, filled with talking furniture and a melancholic aura. The beast was distant, his gruff exterior betraying little of what he felt. We existed in a quiet cohabitation, he in his solitude, and I in my longing for freedom and my father. But as days passed, I found myself drawn to him. His castle held a library, filled with more books than I'd ever seen. He'd join me often, his presence a silent comfort as we lost ourselves in different worlds, side by side. One day I found him reading a book I had loved since childhood, a tale of adventure and acceptance. We talked about it, our conversation flowing like a river, natural and unending. I saw a spark in his eyes, a spark I had seen only in the mirror before. It was a love for knowledge, a dream for more. It was in that moment I realized we weren't so different after all. Our shared moments in the library turned into shared meals, shared walks in the garden, and shared stories. He wasn't just a beast, but a being with a soul, capable of kindness and understanding. I found myself drawn to him, his stories, his laughter, his thoughts. And to my surprise, he was drawn to me too. It was a strange realization. I, who had never been attracted to the women in my village, found my heart beating faster around the beast. Was it his mind, his gentleness, his underlying sadness that appealed to me? Or was it something more? Could it be that I was attracted to him, to a man? The thought was frightening and exhilarating all at once. One day, while we were reading in the library, our hands brushed against each other. A jolt of electricity ran through me, my heart pounding against my chest. I looked at him, my breath hitching in my throat, and found him staring back at me. His eyes held a question, a silent inquiry that mirrored my own tumultuous feelings. We said nothing, but in that silence, an understanding passed between us. We were both different, both outcasts, and both inexplicably drawn to each other. The beast, or perhaps I should call him by the name he revealed to me, Adam, began to occupy my thoughts more and more. There were nights when I'd lie awake, thinking about him, about us, and about what this growing connection meant. It was during one such sleepless night that I admitted to myself what my heart had known all along. I was in love with Adam, the man hidden beneath the beastly exterior. It wasn't a sudden realization, but a slow dawning. I loved him. I loved his kindness, his strength, his vulnerability. I loved how he made me feel, seen, understood, valued. I loved him for who he was. Not a beast, but a man who yearned for acceptance just as I did. As I acknowledged these feelings, I also came to terms with a truth about myself. I was gay. It was like finding the last piece of a puzzle, a piece that made me whole. I was afraid of confessing my feelings, of what his reaction might be, of what it would mean for our friendship. But the fear of regret, of never knowing what could have been, was far greater. So one evening, in the soft glow of the setting sun, I decided to share my truth with Adam. He listened quietly, his expression inscrutable as I confessed my feelings. I told him about my love for him, my realization about my own sexuality, and my fear of ruining our friendship. When I was done, he looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of emotions, surprise, confusion, and something else I couldn't quite decipher. Then he did something I didn't expect. He reached out and held my hand, his grip warm and reassuring. He confessed that he had been grappling with similar feelings. Like me, he had never been attracted to women, a fact that confused him until he met me. He admitted to being in love with me too, to wanting more than just friendship. He said he'd been afraid of scaring me away, of losing the one person who saw past his appearance. Our confessions led to our first kiss, a kiss that was soft and exploratory, filled with a passion that was new yet familiar. It was a kiss that signified the beginning of our romantic relationship. We were both inexperienced, both navigating uncharted waters. But we were together, and that was all that mattered. We spent days exploring each other, our love deepening with each shared moment, each stolen kiss, each whispered "I love you." It was during one of these intimate moments, our bodies entwined in the dim light of my room, that I finally understood what it meant to be truly seen, to be truly loved. Adam wasn't just my lover, he was my soulmate. But our love story was far from perfect. The villagers, led by Gaston, a man who had always held a grudge against me, discovered the beast's existence. Fearing what they didn't understand, they decided to storm the castle, to kill Adam. I, who had once been a prisoner, found myself fighting for the beast, for Adam, for us. The battle was fierce, the villagers relentless, but love gave me strength, and fear gave me courage. I wouldn't let them harm Adam. He was not just a beast, not just a man, but my love, my partner, my home. Despite my efforts, Gaston managed to land a severe blow on Adam before succumbing to his own demise. I rushed to Adam's side, my heart pounding in my chest, my eyes stinging with unshed tears. He was bleeding, his breath shallow, his gaze clouded with pain. I held him, my hands trembling, my voice a mere whisper as I confessed my love for him once again. I told him that I loved him, that I couldn't imagine a life without him, that he was my world. As my tears fell on his face, his eyes locked with mine, he whispered my name, a small smile playing on his lips as he told me how glad he was to have known me, to have loved me. I felt a pang in my heart, a dread settling in the pit of my stomach. I couldn't lose him. Not now. Not after we had found each other. And then something miraculous happened. The castle began to glow, a strange light enveloping everything. I watched in awe as Adam's form began to change, the beastly exterior falling away to reveal a man. The transformation wasn't just physical. I saw it in his eyes, in the way he looked at me, his gaze no longer heavy with sadness but sparkling with life, with love. I found myself staring at a prince, a man as beautiful as the love we shared. He explained about the curse, about the enchantress, about how my love had broken the spell. It was a lot to take in, but looking at him, at his smiling face, I knew that no matter what, we would face everything together. That night, under the star-studded sky, we danced, filled with hesitation and silent confessions, but there was no fear, no uncertainty. We danced, our bodies moving in sync, our hearts beating as one. We danced, not as a beast and a prisoner, but as two men in love.